What is going on here? We're all pretty familiar with H3H3 Productions, Ethan Klein. I used to watch all of their videos back in the day. About 5 years ago, they became super YouTube famous with quality videos, and I genuinely mean that, I really did enjoy them, with quality videos like Vape Nation, taking the piss out of the kissing prank videos. They were the ones who broke the story about BuzzFeed hating men, and when MTV went after white dudes for being, well, white, they went out and made a video about how bullshit that is. Now, they changed their content up a few years ago. They now make a podcast. Now, I don't watch that podcast. I've never watched their podcast, but from what I hear, people enjoy it, okay? It's very, very popular. I'm not gonna talk shit about that. What I'm going to talk shit about today is the absolute brain explosion that happened with Ethan Klein last week. At the end of last week, he lost his absolute shit. He went after every man's Lord and Savior, Joe Rogan. Now, everybody out there who watches my videos knows this. Okay, I'm in love with Joe Rogan. I am the chairman of the Joe Rogan Dick Riders, okay? All right, I'm a bit fucking obsessed. I love the man, what can I say? But Ethan called Joe out, went hard after him, went on this Twitter rampage, and I couldn't help but think throughout the entire thing as I was watching it unfold live that Ethan Klein looked like an absolute fucking idiot as he did it. It all began seemingly out of nowhere with Ethan doing this. Joe Rogan, who lives on elk meat, egg yolk, and human growth hormone with lungs full of tar, thinks he's healthier than everyone. This motherfucker is such a bitch that when he got COVID, he threw the kitchen sink at it. If you're so healthy, just ride it out like you say a man should. Now, I don't know if Joe actually said that about that men should do that. I've listened to most of his podcasts. I haven't heard that, and I imagine he wouldn't say that. But let's go from the start and unpack this whole tweet. Lives on elk meat. Okay, cool. Yep, he does. All right. Egg yolks, great. They're healthy for you. Cholesterol, good shit. I'm being serious. Cholesterol's great. Building blocks of testosterone. H3H, human growth hormone. Now, human growth hormone is a steroid, right? People take it to cheat. But if you have injuries and you take human growth hormone, it'll help you heal. I know Joe's had some issues with his knees. He's had cadaver grafts in his ACL or something like that. I'm probably full of shit right there, but he had a cadaver, a dead person's ligament or tendon put into his body. So my thoughts on the H3H, and he has explained this in a podcast with More Plates, More Dates, is it's basically to help him recover from shit because he trains pretty fucking hard. He's also on testosterone replacement therapy. He's 54 years old, mind you, and we all know that as you get older, your testosterone decreases. When you're 80 years old, you're basically female. So to remain younger, or at least be able to train like a young person and recover like a young person, remain fit and healthy, Joe's on H3H and TRT. I don't know why Ethan's got the shits with that, but he has. Lungs full of tar. Yeah, he smokes a lot of weed. That's a fair point, Ethan. Well done. Thinks he's healthier than everyone. Yeah, he probably fucking is. Look at the man. Right? He's 54 years old. I'd like to look that good when I'm 30, let alone fucking 50, Ethan. The motherfucker is such a bitch that when he got COVID, he threw the kitchen sink at it. If you're so healthy, just ride it out like you say a man should. When Joe got the run, okay, he threw the kitchen sink at it, meaning he went out and got a lot of different treatments from doctors, not just off the street, from doctors. They gave it to him, and guess what? He was negative within like 3 days, and he was back training 2 days after that. Now, when he got the Rona, the kitchen sink he threw included things like monoclonal antibodies. Also the horse dewormer. That's not actually a horse dewormer, it's used to treat people all the time, and it was given to him by a doctor. It rhymes with levoraclectin. He had IV drips, NAD drips, anti-inflammation steroids, prednisone, this type of stuff. Now, people attacked him, not because of all those things he took, but one of the things he took. And the reason people attacked him because of that is because it's political, because Trump talked about it, all that type of stuff. Because the Republican side of the argument in America, people look at it and go, well, that's a right-wing attitude to take that pivaplectin. Some people say it does work, other people say it's a far-right Nazi attitude to say it does. It's ridiculous. It either does or it doesn't. Shut the fuck up, everybody. Why this made Ethan so angry is far beyond me to this point. The dude has caused so much vaccine hesitancy and misinformation, and he doesn't even have the balls to stand by the shit he preaches. Now he's just on his show talking about how fat people should just die of COVID. Dude is such a fucking piece of shit. Ethan, the clip that you're referring to here that I'll get to in a moment, it was tongue in cheek. And from someone who makes videos that are comedy videos, Ethan, you know that sometimes you say things that you don't 100% mean in real life. But the hesitancy thing that Ethan's talking about here is so strange because sometimes hesitancy in life is important. Not necessarily with this jab that we're talking about, but other things. Sometimes we should think about things and listen to both sides of the argument. I think the reason a lot of people, including Joe Rogan, are so vocal about considering other ideas is because we are not allowed to have other ideas. If you have other ideas, you're deplatformed, you're banned, you're all this type of shit. And when that happens, people lose trust. And you know what grows? Hesitancy. So if you want to really look at the people who are pushing hesitancy, look at Twitter, look at Facebook, look at all these people that are controlling whatever narrative they want to push. And the same goes for the misinformation that you're referring to. The misinformation that Ethan's talking about here is some of the guests that Joe has had on his podcast over the past couple of weeks. Now, here's the thing. All of those guests have been medical professionals. So you're happy to listen to one medical professional if they speak in a way that you're happy with, but not these other ones. That seems a bit misguided, Ethan. Now, the last line of what Ethan said there. Now he's on his show talking about fat people that should just die of COVID. Now, I believe he's referring to this video.
You're not supposed to promote healthy lifestyles as an alternative. And you're not even supposed to consider the fact that for most people that are fat and unhealthy, listen, man, you are fucked no matter what. Because even if you don't get COVID, you're going to have a heart attack. Okay? Yeah. You're not going to make it anyway.
Spicy. I know that that's not a nice thing to hear if you're morbidly obese and you don't want to change it, particularly in the realm of body positivity and, anti-fat phobia, all that type of shit. But Joe's right. That is perhaps what lazy little fucks like you, Ethan, might need to hear. That you need to kick your ass into gear or you could possibly die. You may say that that's a conspiracy theory, and it was a conspiracy theory for some time, but it's not. The coronavirus attacks fat tissue, scientists find. The research may help explain why people who are overweight and obese have a higher risk of severe illness and death from COVID. Researchers have found that the Rona infects both fat cells and certain immune cells within the body's fat, promoting and damaging defense response in the body. It's known as a cytokine storm. And the more fat cells you have, the bigger the storm is and the higher likelihood of death increases. It goes through the roof, well, in this case with fat people through the floor. So maybe Joe Rogan isn't to blame for everyone dying. Is he, Ethan? Maybe you should have a harder look at yourself. I've made my point, but just to hammer it home, obesity and the increased risk of Rona. People with obesity are 46% more likely at risk of getting the Rona, according to a study from August. In fact, they are more at risk of getting really sick, facing a 113% higher chance of being hospitalized, a 74% higher risk of needing to be treated in the ICU, and perhaps even most troubling of all, almost 50% increased risk of death. Compound that with already a multitude of risk factors that you have if you are obese. Joe Rogan isn't the person to blame. Him taking horse dewormers isn't the thing to blame. You are to blame if you get sick. Instead of getting vaccinated, he takes Regeneron, an experimental drug that was developed alongside mRNA vaccines. His logic makes no sense, and then credits ivermectin, which does fucking nothing for COVID. Once again, never credited. He said several times he doesn't know what helped him. Not to mention whatever the fuck is in Alpha Brain. Now that's just rude. Meanwhile, while Joe is on a big pharma conspiracy against vaccines, someone needs to ask him who makes ivermectin and Regeneron and all the other shit he took when he had COVID. Okay, now this maybe Ethan doesn't understand how pharmaceutical companies and big pharma works, but if you make every single person in the entire world take an expensive jab, they're gonna make a lot of money. And I don't know why Ethan's freaking out about someone taking pharmaceutical drugs. I don't think this is the argument here. People take I take pharmaceutical drugs every single day, right? For the old epilepsy. But that's just part and parcel with being human. Some of us have things wrong with us. We can't just be against big pharma for the rest of our lives because some of us fucking need it. On the topic of health, now let's just check the scoreboard, all right? This is Joe Rogan. That's Ethan Klein. Who should you listen to about health? Who probably knows more about health? Joe Rogan is a steroid pinata whose gut was so swollen from human growth hormone, he lectures people on health. Yeah, so apparently Joe either had a larger intestine or something like that after taking HGH. Apparently that is a thing that happens. But also on his podcast with More Plates, More Dates, he said he was extremely bloated after that, after having a big meal. And I know from experience that if I have a massive, like the other night I had a full pizza, my gut looked like I was 12 months pregnant. 12 fucking months. But this is what Joe had to say about it.
Yeah, I did not have HGH gut. I ate like a giant bowl of spaghetti with sausage.
In hindsight, I think it was just like gut dysbiosis from like your diet at the time.
You say I'm unhealthy, yet Joe Rogan, adjusted for outfit, has the same body as me. Interesting. Well, that's fucking ridiculous, Ethan. Maybe that post right there was a joke that Ethan put up. But he was so mad in his other tweets, it seems like he's really pissed off, and all of these come from some place of truth. Ethan went on to whinge some more. But here's the thing. I think the reason that Ethan and his fans, who are a lot of them are woke Twitter users, are mad because Joe has the biggest reach out of anyone in the world when it comes to his audience. Joe Rogan's audience is bigger than Tucker Carlson in America, bigger than CNN, bigger than MSNBC, and bigger than Fox News combined. And what pisses people off is Joe doesn't have a narrative. He allows people onto his show that some people don't like. There are people that have been onto his show that people have labeled racist, sexist, and bigots. So the only way they get heard is through people like Joe, and that's what pisses off a lot of people who want to push one narrative rather than the other. You should be allowed to talk about whatever you want. At this point in the world, you are not. There is no nuance in these subjects. It's either one way or the other. You're either an anti-vaxxer and you're a conspiracy theorist, or you run down and suck off Big Pharma all fucking day, all right? Why can't there be room in the middle? It is not okay to shut down free thinking opinions. Joe Rogan brings on experts that disagree with other experts. You are not an expert sitting at home tweeting about it. Ethan, shut the fuck up. Woke people, shut the fuck up. If you don't know what you're talking about, shut the fuck up. And that's why I'm gonna shut the fuck up and end this video, because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Be a good motherfucker, peace in the Middle East, big stings. Toodaloo, au revoir. Oh, by the way, new merch out next week. Fucking Australia, mate. There's a heap of good shit. Check out the website. I'll see you next time. Toodaloo, au revoir, bye bye.